Hi, welcome to Professor Kev Show. As you can see, I got my friend Professor Cody Lu with this. Good morning, Cody. Welcome to the show, bud.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
So, Cody, today I wanted you to come on because I want someone else's opinion about asking for recommendations and reference letters. Now, as a very popular professor on campus, you get more than your share. Tell me your side of this. What do you expect when students want a reference or a recommendation?
Yeah, so that's a great question. It's a great question, and this is something that I feel quite passionately about. Um, I don't think that you should just ask any professor for a recommendation letter. Sometimes students do this because they're desperate. They have nobody else. Okay, I know how it is. But even if you're desperate, you do not just, shoot your shot at whoever. Um, So obviously, like there's some things like you should not wait till the last minute, right? That really, for lack of a better term, that pisses me off when you ask for the last minute. Um, because it just shows that you're not really into what you're doing and you're just a last minute person. And what am I supposed to say? How am I going to advocate for you if you're last minute,
Yep.
right? That's such a big turn off for me. But in general, I have a four-tier ranking system,
All
four
right.
levels, okay? Each with its own time commitment on my end, right? Because you're asking me to write a
Yep.
letter, right? So I think that anyone who gets less than an A minus in my course, I
Yep.
don't think you have any business asking me for a recommendation letter. It's hard to advocate for B students. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Um, but if you do, if you ask, I may still say yes, if I just feel like, I want to help you out or whatnot. But I'm not gonna spend too much time on your letter, right? In my computer, I have different formatting for different types of letters,
Yep.
and I probably spend no more than 5 minutes on your letter if you're in this category.
Yep.
It's harsh, but that's kind of how it is,
Yep.
right?
Right.
The next tier is you got an A in my course, right? But I don't know you, right? And I'm sure you can relate to Professor Kev,
Yes.
right? Like if I don't know you,
Yeah.
again, what am I supposed to say for you? I'm not lying on you. I'm not lying for you, right? Like on that way, right? I have to speak the truth. So if you have an A, but I don't know you, then I'll spend some more time, maybe 10 minutes on your letter,
Yep.
but
Yep.
probably won't go past 10.
So,
The next category is you got an A, and I do know you kind of well,
yep.
right? But like maybe you haven't worked with me outside of course classes where you haven't taken a leadership role outside of course my class, right? In that case, this will be a good letter, I will say, maybe 20 minutes I'll spend on it, but it's still not the highest category.
Yep.
But then the highest category is you did well in my class. I know you very well. And then also we work together in some other type of leadership role, right? So I'm the co-advisor for Accounting Society, right? A
Yep.
club on campus. If you're, an officer or e-board there and you did a good job, and then that works, right? Or if you had other volunteer opportunities. So that is the highest tier. And I would, if you're good, I will spend, between 40 minutes to up an hour on your letter.
Wow.
So that's just that's how I rank it. I think that all professors have some sort of ranking system, even if they don't have explicitly, stated out.
I want to go back to something you said earlier because it's actually happened to me this semester. I had a student, yeah, I don't really know him well, doing average in my class. And in his email, he said, no one else will write it for me. And I grabbed him after class and said, but I talk about building relationship with your professor all the time in class. You need to build a relationship. So when you get here, you can fit into Cody's system. And I'm like, Bud, why don't you have, second semester freshman year, you've had, 8 or 9 different professors. Why is no one want to write that for you? What does that tell you? You didn't make those connections like I asked you to. And that gets awkward because then it's putting it on your professor. All right, I'm the only one. If I say no, this person doesn't have a chance at the scholarship. But to your point, what do you say? If I don't know you, it's whoever's reading is going to clearly say that. This is Kev just trying to be a good guy. He clearly has no idea who this person is. Cody was in my class, average student, like no value at all and stuff. So it's all about the relationship too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And even if a professor agrees to write your letter, which I might, right, it's not going to be a good letter. It's not going to help your case.
Exactly. Yep.
You're gonna get rejected from whatever grad school or scholarship or whatever job that that you're applying to if you ask a professor who doesn't really know you. So
Yep.
yeah, it's very important to build that relationship. It's tough though. I understand it's tough. Some people are just shy, right? You can be naturally shy.
Yep.
I mean, there's people who aren't doing well in my class and they should be coming to my office hours every damn day, but they're not.
Yep.
And I don't know why, but so yeah, an A, getting a good grade in class is not enough. You have to get to know people, and this is for life and everything as well.
And a
Um,
follow-up question for you. When someone wants a recommendation or a reference, do you prefer they ask you in person or is email good enough?
that I don't really care about. I
Okay.
think
Yep.
either way is fine. It's mostly about how well I know you
Yep. So
within the context of real life.
one more. We were talking a little bit before the show. What I personally appreciate is when I do it and someone takes the time to come by, or, someone gave me a card last semester. Hey, thank you for taking the time to write the letter. It shows me that you actually did appreciate it and it wasn't just like, hey, you're my professor, you're supposed to write me a letter. I had two students this term. Once came by an event last night. One stopped by my class. Hey, just I know I emailed you. I want to say personally to your face, thank you for doing that. Only two out of many, have done that. So to me, it stood out. Any value? Do you want to feel appreciated? I guess.
Just to play devil's advocate, right? I think that's it's a good gesture. It is a good gesture. I think it can feel good, right? But I do think that don't overdo it. If you overdo it, it looks like you're just sucking up.
Yeah, I mean, but they both did a good job. They just literally walked in. I just shook my hand. I just want to say thank you personally. I appreciate it, and turned around and left. Like you said, not like that wasn't me. Yeah, to your point, it can come across fake,
If
but
you can make it genuine to do it, but
yeah,
sometimes it comes off as fake, and then
yeah,
that's when
it's
you have to
like,
be
all right.
careful. So
And
it's hard.
I
No,
joke
there's no
all
hard
the
and fast
time.
rules.
It's funny because I'll joke with you. Okay, Cody, you did good. You can go now. Like because, like you said, you're trying too hard and stuff. So, all right. So, anything else we should talk about in regards to recommendation reference letters? Anything we missed that's important for students to know when they're asking their professors?
For me, and the reason why I feel passionate about this topic is because if you know you don't deserve a letter, do not even ask. You're
Wow.
gonna self-sabotage yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm gonna share a story with no identities revealed.
Please.
Once upon a time, I had a student. They asked me for a letter. Number one, they got a C minus in my course.
Yeah.
Okay, that's way below the threshold you need.
Yeah.
Number two, they had admitted after I had submitted grades that semester that they had cheated on the research project because they used Chegg.
Yeah.
Now, I couldn't do anything to them at the time
Yeah.
because my grades had been already submitted, right? But it was going to come back to bite them. So I was just absolutely appalled that they would have the nerve to ask me for a recommendation letter despite that. And so you know what? They sent it to me an email, which is
Yeah.
fine. But then I kindly, or I don't know, maybe not kindly, but I responded with what they asked me, will you advocate for me? I responded with a question. That's when you know it's bad.
Yeah.
I said, do you want me to advocate you? I listed everything that they had done. See, I don't forget. I I keep score all the time. I don't just forget people like that. So in that
Cody, I'm
situation,
actually speechless on that one. That's never happened to me before. Like that someone would do that, knowing, what they did to you, and cheated. Like why would you, think that you're just going to be like, oh, just let bygones be bygones or whatever. No, you cheated in a class. How can a professor, positively advocate for you, when you see that and stuff?
I was
Wow.
shocked. I was shocked.
Yeah, when you just told me that story, I was shocked too and stuff.
So
So
be careful.
yeah.
Don't
And
self-sabotage.
I try to tell my students that everything you do is a reflection of you. When you do something in class that, upsets the class, you're disrespectful to me or your classmates. When you ask for that letter, that's what I'm remembering. Like, no, I'm not comfortable because you were disrespectful to me. You missed more classes than you attended. How can I advocate for you? Because I don't know if you're gonna bother to show up for that job, just like you didn't show up for my class.
Or if you're t texting in class, talking in class, not paying attention, all of that, we keep score.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we do, because, we're both very laid back professors. We don't, this is what we expect, and it's not, unreasonable. Like I have a strict no texting policy. You pull out your phone in class, I'm calling you out on it. Cody, did you
That's great.
forget? I joke like if after spring break that week, there's always texting. Like I know we had a whole week off, but still no texting. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, come on, Cody, this is week 10. We shouldn't be talking about this anymore, buddy. Type of thing. So
Unbelievable. Yeah. So I mean, just know that some professors like me, we keep score. All
yeah,
right. And then the only other thing I will say, just like like, and you mentioned this, right? Like you might not be sure if they're ready, to behave properly in like a job or other setting, right? For that they're asking for the recommendation for. And I mentioned like we're not lying, we're not gonna lie to you for you,
yeah,
okay? You're not our parents, you're not a family member. Like we don't need to lie for
yeah,
you. There's
yeah,
no incentive for us.
yeah,
If we recommend the wrong person, that doesn't look good on us. It's our reputation,
exactly. Yeah,
and there's a cost for us. So you better deserve it if you're gonna ask us for a recommendation.
that is a perfect way to close. Cody, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to come on the show, and as always, thanks for being my friend.
Of course. Thank you, Professor Kev.